Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sampson, Jim Jones with Veterans in Politics. We have Shannon Churchwell. She is a Nevada Assembly candidate for District Number 5, and she's also the state director for BLEXIT. Before we get to Ms. Churchill, Jim.
I actually honestly don't have anything.
Churchwell. I'm so sorry, Ms. Churchwell.
I literally have no rants.
You mute today?
Yeah, I literally have no rants. Everything is good with me.
Oh my God! That's Since beautiful. You left that one place, you have no rants. Yeah. Nobody's bothering you.
I know, yeah. Pretty much.
Wow, man, it probably was a good change then.
Yeah, right.
Ms. Churchwell.
Yes.
Could you please tell us about yourself?
Well, my name is Shannon Churchwell. I'm originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Rocky, I've seen the Rocky movie.
Oh.
Go up the stairs.
That music pumps me up every time.
You guys got Hershey Farm over there. Hershey, remember Hershey? Chocolate company?
I remember going to Hershey Park, as a kid. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now I'm allergic to chocolate, so I can't even go to the park anymore.
What a shame, what a shame.
I know.
My parents are actually from Oregon, Eugene, Oregon, and Portland, Oregon. So they wanted to change. They went to Philadelphia and had me.
Okay.
And when I wanted to change, my family in Oregon said, come on out here. But it was a little too...
hot. Dry.
Boring. Oregon? No, it rained every day.
I'm talking about Vegas.
No, I went to Oregon first.
Okay.
And then I came down here.
Okay. You like Vegas better?
Yeah, it's a good happy medium.
Yeah. What's so happy medium about it?
It's still a small town. Well, it was low crime when I first moved here.
What
it's
year?
Still 2012.
Okay.
It's like a small town, but it has big entertainment.
Yes.
And Eugene, Oregon just didn't have that. Portland didn't have that. So.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. My mom, I think, said it best, that the reason why she liked Las Vegas was because you can live in any lane you want. If you want to be in the fast lane all the time, you can do that. If you want to just be in the middle lane, if you want to be in the slow lane, live out in the suburbs, you can do that too. And you can change it anytime you want.
Exactly.
Or live in the rurals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need a helicopter to get to.
Yeah. I live all the way down where horse property. But I like the middle lane. You know, not too fast, not too slow.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So, Ms. Churchwell, why are you running for Assembly District 5?
I'm really haven't firmly decided on that, but I do think we need diversity in our legislature. I don't think that, and I'm not talking about gender or racial diversity. Yeah. We need diversity as far as injecting more conservatives into our legislature.
Okay.
So I think we need common sense approaches to our problems, and just, I don't think that we have that in what we are getting right now.
What's your hot button topic?
Well, for me, healthcare, because I'm a nurse, there are some things that I would like to see change as far as patient to healthcare provider ratios, as far as the nurses and the CNAs. They're overwhelming us. For me personally, if it's too many patients, I'll say no. And a lot of people get angry with me from that. But I would like to see those ratios change. If you're going to give a nurse or a CNA more patients than a certain amount, they should be paid time and a half. I would like to introduce a bill for that. But even still, it would cap at a certain point. I think that we need more autonomy over our own bodies. I do not believe that you should be forced to take any medication, treatment, or care, including the vaccines. No matter how wonderful everyone thinks they are, I still think that it's your right to choose what goes into your body, how often it goes into your body.
That's the foundation of this country, right? Freedom of choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up, because actually a lot of people don't know, and I'm not going to tell you how I know. But if, say, for instance, a police officer needs to draw blood to check your blood alcohol level or something like that, they actually have to have a search warrant for that. So I don't understand why that isn't, like, how you can mandate something. If police officers can't do it legally, then how can the medical community?
I'm really disappointed that the medical community hasn't spoken up more. Those that do, they're worried that they're going to lose their license.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, you know, they want you to take these vaccines. I think the public is being conditioned for something bigger, you know, but they want you to take the vaccines. Oh, then you got to get another. Oh, then you got to get another. Oh, then one more. I mean, and it's like you have no right to say no, or you basically will lose your job. I'm waiting for them to freeze our bank accounts if we don't get vaccinated.
Oh,
I mean, I'm
nobody
like,
will put their money in the bank after that.
Then it'll be a cashless society. We won't accept cash. So it's like we need to make sure that we push back on these things, and I think diversity of thought is needed in our legislature.
And I don't want to spend too much time on this, but can an assembly person actually do anything about that bill?
I think that we can introduce bills. I think we can use our influence. I think that we can use whatever is with our toolbox to force those things. So that's what we all should be doing, you know, holding the line, pushing back on this new wave of just far left policies, you know.
Could you give us the boundary lines for 5?
It is like Southwest. It's part of the lakes. Little
Las
bit of
Vegas?
Summerlin, like
Okay.
yeah, like is it like it was like Sahara?
Oh, yeah, the lakes.
The lakes,
Sahara.
like around
not Lake Las
Yeah,
Vegas.
yeah.
No.
I was thinking
that's all
about
the way up in
Sahara. I was
Henderson.
thinking about Sahara when I said it.
Yeah, those are like the boundaries.
Yeah. Okay. So how long you been living up there for?
Short of 1 year. I've been living there since I've been here.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the concerns for AD5?
I think that what we're concerned with is making sure children have proper education and access to different education options. One of the things I would like to do is lift the cap that they tend to have on these charter schools. We want our children to be prepared to go into adulthood ready to be productive.
Are you a component for Common Core, or you just don't like Common Core? What's your take on Common Core?
I think that the teachers need the freedom to teach. I don't think that there's some of the stuff I don't like about Common Core. It's sort of like they're trying to reinvent the wheel. I mean, and it's not necessary.
What about your take on ESAs? And I know the
Education
ACLU.
savings account?
Yeah, I know the ACLU put a kibosh on
I've
that.
advocated for that many, many times. So I, as a parent of two, of a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old, I support that 100%. I can't imagine anyone in their right mind not supporting children having access to what education is best for them.
And visual learning, homeschooling, how do you feel about that?
I think that those are options that may be good for some children. You have some children who...
Or virtual learning is what I meant to say.
I think that that's an option that is good for some children. You know, you have some children who may get sick a lot. Maybe they're going through treatments that need to stay home. You may have some children who have social anxieties and they're going through counseling. They may not want to go to school. There's bullying issues. There's a lot of reasons why, or their parents may travel a lot. There's a lot of reasons why we need diversity in education as far as the options.
I've noticed that a lot of candidates, no matter what office they're running for, they always talk about education, how it's, I mean, we just had that lieutenant governor candidate was talking about education. Everybody's talking about education. I mean, as an assembly person, what could you do to curb education in the positive spectrum?
Well, I think that we need to be realistic with what's working and what's not working and be honest about it. You know, I think that for many years, we just haven't been honest about what's not working in education. And I think that a lot of times people get offended when you talk about that. But I think that as an assembly person, I would push what I think is going to work.
You think the teachers' union is working for the best interest of the children?
No, that's not their job, though.
And what is their job?
Their job is to protect their own interests. Their job is not, I mean, and that's just realistic. Their job isn't to make sure that Johnny and Sally is getting a great education.
No, and that's the thing that, and people ask me all the time, are you pro-union or anti-union? I'm like, I'm neither. I do think there's certain areas that unions are good. Skilled labor, I think it's very important to have unions. But as far as the teachers' unions go, would you be willing to, and I know this is tough, but would you be willing to meet with teachers and without a union representative?
I think
and
that,
see, because there's a lot of teachers that are really not happy with teachers' unions, but obviously they're not going to speak out against them. And most teachers actually agree that there's a problem, but they can't say it because if they say it, they're worried about their jobs.
Yeah, I think that we need to stop being cowards. I mean, people need to speak up because if you don't speak up, problems fester and then they get worse. Right. I would be willing to sit down with teachers, not teachers' unions, right, because I think that teachers have certain issues and concerns that are not being addressed, even though they have teachers' unions.
Is there a bill that maybe you'd be willing to propose? Because this just came to my attention a couple days ago, that a lot of people are donating pencils, pens, school supplies, but these school supplies are not getting dispersed throughout the school district. There's actually warehouses here in Nevada, and I actually got to tour one the other day, that have piles of notebooks, pens, pencils, all this stuff not being used, but yet teachers are still coming out of pocket for this stuff.
Well, I had suggested that there be a central supply closet in each school. Yeah. Is similar to what we have as nurses. We have a central supply closet. Right. So if we need a generic medicine, if we need a thermometer, if we need bandages or whatever, we go to that central supply closet. So we're not spending out of pocket for anything, right, unless we choose to, right, you know, if we want the big fancy stethoscope or something like, right, that. But to avoid teachers having to spend out of their own pocket, I would suggest that each school has a central supply closet and they just go and get stuff from there.
I'm surprised nobody has sued the state because the way recreational marijuana was introduced to Nevadans was that the tax dollars was going to be used to support education and help with teachers' salaries and school equipment and probably build more schools if need be. Mm-hmm. But where's the marijuana tax money? Where's that going? Because it's not going to what they initially say it was supposed to go for. And every time they ask for more money for teachers, and I'm like, wait a minute, the marijuana for recreational marijuana is supposed to go for that. Why isn't anybody talking about that and demanding the state tell us where that money is?
I think you just have there's no balance. You know, you just have people that know something is wrong and they follow the leader and they don't speak up for anything.
Would you ask for an investigation?
Yes, I would. But I think that, you know, due to the poor decisions of the governor, with all the shutdowns and stuff, I think that the state and the revenues that were lost during the shutdowns, I think they're going to be even tighter on money. But at the same time, that's why we need to look through where we're supposed to be spending money and not spending, where money is being wasted. So we really need to do an audit at this point. Not
audit?
just that, but
Would it be a forensic audit?
It would have to be. Also, with the money that the government gave the state for rent, you know how they had that moratorium where the landlords did not have complete rights to their property. And they couldn't collect rent, they couldn't throw anyone out.
Well, how does that work when the landlord still got to pay a mortgage and the landlord still has to pay property tax?
Well, that's why you had a lot of people just selling stuff with their tenants in it, or they, had to do whatever they had to do to fight to protect their properties, or unfortunately lose it, or however it would work. But a lot of that money that was supposed to go towards paying people's rents, it didn't get paid in a timely fashion. Some people still haven't gotten their money for their tenants. So we have to make sure, one of the things that I'm for is efficiency in government. If you're going to do something, you have to do it right. And you have to do it in a way that is expeditious and practical and right. So if you're going to do take taxes from the marijuana, it's supposed to go towards this, then it should go towards this. If you're going to tell landlords they can't throw anyone out, you better pay them their money in a timely fashion. Like, the government should not operate in a way that is not efficient.
You're also leading BLEXIT, right?
Yeah,
Tell us a little bit about that. And your position in BLEXIT.
I'm the Nevada State Director for BLEXIT here in Nevada. It was founded by Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum with the help of Donald Trump. And it's basically to promote conservative values in the minority communities, especially the Black community. I think that you'll find that you have a lot of Blacks that are conservative, but they are voting against their best interests. And that's what we aim to do through outreach, is educate people and get them to understand that policies that they support publicly should match what they are for. Mm-hmm. So if you're for getting a good education, if you're for decent paying jobs, if you're for entrepreneurship, if you're for our borders being secure, if you're for those things, you might not want to go and vote for the progressive on the ticket. And that's what a lot of Black people have been doing, voting against their best interests. And then they wonder why things are the way they are. And it's quite obvious.
So it's interesting, obviously I'm not for government mandates. And I don't think that's something you can mandate. But I'm glad you brought that up, because there's two things that kind of really frustrate me when it comes to politics and social issues, right? Is that there are, in my opinion, I'm just going to look at it from my point of view, because obviously, I'm not Black, so I can't I can't speak for Black people, and I'm not going to pretend to. But what I've been trying to address,
did last week at that barbecue we had.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't say I didn't like Black food, okay? That's different now. But it frustrates me that, number one, just in general, just to touch on that just for a second with Black people, is that it just seems to me that they're so afraid to, if they are conservative, or maybe they did want to vote for Donald Trump, or they do want to vote for Republican, they're afraid to say it.
Well, yeah, because when I kept blowing the whistle telling people not to vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, I got death threats from white people and Black people. I've been ridiculed from head to toe. They put pictures of Whoopi Goldberg from The Color Purple up saying, you think he was going to pick you? You know, they were just so ridiculing and just derogatory. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't care about all of that.
Right.
You know, and that's one of the reasons why I was chose for this position, because I'm going to speak up and speak my mind. I don't care about the pushback, because it needs to be said. You are not voting in the best interest, not only of your people, but it's ruining the country. And I hate to say it, but it's the truth. Black people that just keeps voting almost 92%, that's almost 100% Democrat. And it's just, you being an uneducated voter, you're ruining the country. And you know, the way Biden did the troops in Afghanistan, the flooding of the border, just the way they're handling the coronavirus, just everything. It's ruining the country by you being an uneducated voter. And what I mean by being an uneducated voter, you don't know what position the person is running for, what they have within their power to do. You don't give the Republicans an opportunity to earn your vote. And Republicans, you have to reach out more. If you want to be my mayor, if you want to be my governor, you've got to show up and talk to me.
True.
I mean, if you're not coming to my community and bothering to speak to me, why should I vote for you?
No, I agree.
So they've got Republicans and conservative candidates must reach out more. It's to the point where it's a matter of either we're going to save the country or we're going to lose the country. So that's where we're at this point.
Well, and just to touch on that a little bit more from the liberal white perspective. And I'm not trying to be mean to liberal white people, but yeah. Anyway, one of my favorite, because one of my good friends is, and Steve knows who I'm talking about, so I'll leave it at that. One of my favorite movies ever was Remember the Titans. And one of the things that Denzel Washington's character said was, he goes, by patronizing, because the other coach was white and he was black, he said, by patronizing these kids, you're not helping them, you're crippling them for life. So one of the things that I try to get across to liberal white people is like pretending that you understand black people, okay? And voting for these liberal agendas is not helping anybody. It's actually hurting the country. So, like, can everybody just stand on their own merit? Like, I'm not saying if you're white, you should all of you vote conservative. If you don't like the conservative candidate, by all means, don't vote for him. But don't think because now all of a sudden you feel like you're enlightening, yeah, I'm going to vote for Biden because he's going to liberate black people. That's garbage. Like, we all, like you said, be educated voters and vote for the person.
Yeah, and also this socialist agenda, it's appealing to some people because they remind me of charlatan pastors. You know, they want you to think that everything is going to be free and your basic survival needs are going to be met. And that takes away people's motivation. What motivates me in my drive to get an education and to work is because I want to take care of myself. I want to take care of my children. I want to contribute to society. And you have the socialist that wants you to just be slothful and lazy and take from the rich and most rich. Yeah, it's a fairy tale. It's really a fairy tale. Most people who are rich, and I've talked to white people that are rich, black people that are rich, most people that are rich used to be poor or of modest means. They worked hard. They climbed up the ladder. So to just say, oh, just snatch their stuff and give it to the people that don't want to do anything with themselves is absolutely ridiculous. And as black people, we should not be promoting any dependency on government for our basic survival.
Yeah.
Really, not just black people, anybody. So it's time to get off this socialist experiment.
Did you cover everything you needed to cover?
Well, I'm really excited because coming up this Tuesday, and for now, it's going to be the first Tuesday of every month. is going to be a new, awesome morning show on KCEP 88.1 FM called Conservative Coffee with Mac and Shannon. And it's hosted by myself and Mac Miller. And we are going to go on a liberal station that's the majority Black demographic, and we're going to be the Howard Stern and the Robin of the conservative Black movement. We're going to light it up. We already have people lined up that want to battle us on the...
You said coffee?
Conservative coffee, yeah, it's a morning show.
What happens if you drink tea?
Well, get a whiff of the coffee because it's time to wake up, right?
Steve's a tea drinker. But I love him anyway.
That sounds like fun. I wouldn't mind coming on there and uproot some trees.
Well, yeah. Well, I would love to have you on. There are going to be people that's going to want to challenge the position of conservatism and Republican versus Democrat. So it's going to be quite a shakeup. And it's what's needed because people need to challenge. Exactly.
Yeah. Jim, you have anything for Ms. Churchwell?
No, other than the fact that I've, since the last time you were on,
that was fun, wasn't it?
Actually, it was one of the best interviews that I've done. I mean, Steve always does good interviews. Usually, I'm not that great at it, but I've given your card out to several people that are running for office, and I said, hey, and speaking to what we were talking about, like you need to reach out to. You can't just say, okay, the majority of Black people are conservative. Hey, if you're not going to reach out to them. You know, so and I'll get in contact with you because if my candidate doesn't want to come on, I'll definitely come on.
Okay, great. Yeah. Well, I love being here, and thanks for you guys for having me here.
Ms. Churchwell, could you look into the camera and Mark's going to zoom in on you and say whatever you want, final words, why people should go to the voting booth and vote for you and your point of contact?
Well, people should vote for me for Assembly District 5 because it's time for diversity in thought. It's not about race. It's not about gender. It's about diversity in thought. I will be running as a Republican, and you can get more information about my campaign at nevadandsforchurchwell.com. That's nevadandsforchurchwell.com. If you want to become a member of BLEXIT, visit www.blexitfoundation.org. That's blexitfoundation.org. Anyone can join. It's free to join. It's free to come to our events. You want to promote the conservative movements. We need strong leaders that's willing to join the movement. Also, stay tuned every Tuesday, the first Tuesday of every month, Conservative Coffee at 10:30 a.m. with Mac Miller and myself, Shannon Churchwell.
And do you know about what's going on today at Ahern?
Yeah, I got a message about that.
Okay, yeah. Just want to make sure that you're in the loop.
Yeah, I'm in the loop.
Well, Ms. Churchwell, I want to thank you so much for coming on the program and introducing yourself to the people out there. And good luck in your campaign. And good luck with BLEXIT. Folks, that's Shannon Churchwell. She is an assembly candidate for District Number 5. And the chairwoman, is that?
The Nevada State Director.
Nevada State Director for BLEXIT. Get involved. See what she has to offer. It sounds very interesting. And you Black Americans out there, there are 2 parties, not just one. Actually, there are 4 parties. You got Independent American Libertarian as well. We don't want to leave them out. But pick a party that reflects your views, not your parents' views, not your friends' views, not your sister down the street views, but your personal views. Pick a party, go with that party, and let's making this country a country that we all will love and cherish, that we could pass on to our generations to come. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jones for Veterans in Politics. Until next time.